Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.
A wonderful morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're having a great Saturday morning so far, and it's about to get much better. On behalf of the District Steering Committee, I would like to warmly welcome you all to the third day of the annual Rotaract District Conference. I would also like to welcome all the viewers joining us from YouTube as well. Day 1 and Day 2 has been quite eventful and very enlightening to say the least. Today will be no different. We have a number of segments planned out to keep you all engaged, entertained, and enlightened. So stay with us till the right end. Quick reminder, you will have the opportunity to vote for the much anticipated and awaited Papa Awards right after this session. Now, this award ceremony is a celebration of the everyday Rotaractor. There are 13 categories to vote for, and you do not want to miss this chance. More specifics to write on and how to vote and when to vote right after this session. So stay tuned. Also, if you have any questions during our keynote speakers' speeches, do not hesitate to send them our way. Go ahead and send them to the host. I will be happy to direct them to our speakers. So then in that case, without further ado, let us now start with today's proceedings. To address the gathering, first and foremost, I would like to invite the District Interact Representative nominee, Rotaract Past President Ahmed Hussain. Rotaract Ahmed Hussein is currently working on as a sales and marketing supervisor at Sri Lankan Airlines and a part-time lecturer at the Sri Lankan Aviation College. With over 8 years of experience in the sector, during his school days he was an active member at the Interact Club of Isipatana College, after which he joined the Rotaract Club of Colombo North to continue his journey. He served the club in varying official capacities and proceeded on to become the president of the club in the year 2017 and 18, during which he led the club to be recognized in multiple locations for its uniqueness, including winning the Most Supportive Club of the Year at Rotaract District Assembly 2018. Rotaract Ahmed has served in the district level as a joint director for international service in 2018 and 19, and his current role as the assistant district representative for year 2020 and 2021. Widely known for his ability to quickly connect with people, this individual is with a vision to take the name of his motherland to the international arena and was elected as a district Rotaract representative for the year 2022 to 2023. Rotaract Ahmed, over to you.
Hello. I hope I'm audible and visible as well. Yeah. A very good morning to all of you. First of all, thank you very much for the lovely introduction, Binoy. Before I proceed, I must say it gives me immense pleasure to see all of you here in numbers on this Saturday morning. Today, I have been given the task of empowering you so that you stay focused and attentive to the interesting and exciting lineup we have for you. While welcoming all of you to the third day of the 30th Rotaract District Conference, I wish to enlighten you all about what we do and what we are going to progress as one movement, as one family through the journey ahead of us. I have been privileged to witness and be part of many district conferences before. Yet this year's conference will always have a special place in my heart, since this is the very first time I'm speaking to all of you in an official capacity as a district Rotaract representative nominee. It is no secret that the past few years have been very challenging. During past DRR Amjad's year, we faced one of the most heart-wrenching tragedies of our country, the Easter bombings. During immediate past DRR Bala's year, yet again, we face a challenge, a global challenge. That is the COVID-19 pandemic. Quite unfortunately, all our prayers of seeing a better days, seeing the word pandemic fading away, seeing the world heal again were unanswered, and we were left with not much of a choice. DRR Kasun had to start his year and is about to finish the year with a pandemic, while handing it over to DRR-elect Akila, who too has to work alongside the pandemic now. I'm sure you are wondering why I brought up these challenges today on this occasion. I did so because I'd like you to take a few minutes and think back on how, as Rotaractors and as responsible citizens of this country, we came forward in aid. We had Rotaractors helping the wounded at the Easter bombings, irrespective of the danger that could have come to their own lives at that moment. We had Rotaractors giving out donations for the daily wage during the first phase of the pandemic. We reshaped our project plans and adjusted to a new normal. From volunteering at vaccination centers to creating apps, educating everyone through books and even webinars. We truly lived up to our Rotaract invocation and still continue to prove that nothing else matters but humanity. I am very proud of how we Rotaractors have adapted to change so quickly. No pandemic could, not even the pandemic could stop the good work we carried out. And as a DRR nominee, I'm aware that I too have to face and conquer challenges and many other difficulties in the coming years. That's why learn, serve, and strive are three simple words that I wish to leave behind today. As a part of this evolving process, we wish to educate you further to achieve your highest potential, where you gain knowledge about Rotary, Rotaract, and what those have to offer. I would like all of our Rotaractors to be familiar with the opportunities such as Rotary Scholarship and Rotary Grants, so we can give life to our dreams of a better future. We are the leaders of today and not tomorrow. We strive to serve and implement changes that address the problems our society is facing today. Protecting the environment, gender equality, and women empowerment are few areas I wish to focus on during the years of 2022-2023. We should consider ourselves blessed that we are living on a scenic island. Protecting its natural beauty is our responsibility. Yes, we already have initiatives to safeguard our corals, our plants, yet there is much more we can do. Like a bird spreading out its wings, we should expand our projects, but our potential and our own limits should be tested. Something I thoroughly believe is in humanity. I believe in a society where everyone is treated equally and given the respect and the place they deserve. Jobs should be offered based on qualifications and the hard work put in, and not anything else. With our diversity and respect for one another as Rotaractors, I can see that our society has changed enormously. Yet gender defines some jobs or places in this world for women. Hence why it is important to promote women empowerment and to get women to take their rightful place in shaping this world too. We have the power to change the world this very hour, this very minute, this very second. The key to changing the world lies in each and every one of you. By looking inside yourself and truly understanding who you are can be your first step to change the world. But by finding out who you are, you can prevent yourself from becoming a victim of the void that lives in the people of today's society. So, my dear fellow Rotaractors and fellow invitees, let us all embark on a journey where we find true meaning of our existence. Be empathetic, be humble, learn from one another, and give back as much as you can for the greater good without expecting anything in return. I would like to leave you with this message. Reading 20 pages a day is 30 books a year. Saving $10 a day is $3,650 per year. Running 1 mile per day is 365 miles per year. Becoming 1% better each day, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you're done. Small habits are underestimated. Take small steps, have small but meaningful habits, and be the change you wish to see in this world. So thank you very much, and hope you enjoy the rest of the day's proceedings. Stay blessed and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rotaractor. We wish you the best of luck for the coming year as well. And now we have a very special message from the COVID-19 Task Force. Responding to the urgent request from the COVID-19 treatment centers from all over the island seeking medical equipment donations, we have decided to collect monetary donations to provide pulse oximeters to these centers. Given the critical situation, we urge that all the donations are made on or before 11 p.m. on the 25th Tuesday to the district account. The name of the account is Rotaract District Organization RID 3220. The other information regarding the account will be shared shortly in the chat box. When making donations, please include the club name, personal name in the reference section. Make sure to email an image of the deposit slip, online transfer, and a slip to the Rotaract COVID-19 Task Force at rotaractcovid19taskforce@gmail.com. Please consider this an urgent matter and share this message within and outside of your clubs and make this worthy cause a success. Thank you. And now moving on, it goes without saying that our parent organization, Rotary, is constantly involved in ushering in progressive change to both our society and the movement. Rotary plays a major role when it comes to shaping Rotaract, and today, to speak on the future of Rotary, we have with us a very prominent Rotarian today. Past District Governor Rotarian Gauri Rajan will be speaking on shaping Rotary. Rotarian Gauri Rajan is the Group Director, CMO of Sun and Asuka Group of Companies, the market leader in the safety measures industry with the brand Surya. The company today is a diversified conglomerate in the business FMCG products, education, printing, and hauliers. Due to her entrepreneurial DNA, recently the company ventured into the hygiene sector, given the changing business climate. A certified professional marketer and a graduate from the University of Bangalore, India, she went to read for the MBA from the University of Peradeniya. Currently, Rotarian Gauri is a doctoral student in business administration. She is the first female Rotary governor to be elected to serve Rotary in Sri Lanka and Maldives. Rotarian Gauri's strong leadership helped Sri Lanka securing 400 million on a public-private partnership model for humanitarian projects during her tenure. One such project was the first ever human heart valve tissue bank in Sri Lanka and the 1 million tree planting project that was launched by Miss World 2015. Subsequently, Rotary International selected Rotarian Gauri to serve on a 6-member committee to shape the future strategy of Rotary based on the events done in the USA. Rotarian Gauri Rajan is a double awardee of the WIM Most Inspirational Woman of the Year in both 2013 and in 2017. Together with the World Bank IFC, WIM recognized her as the top 50 professional women in Sri Lanka for the Best International Women Leadership Award Gold. She was recognized as the best woman in management under the industry sector Chartered Institute of Management and as Global Icon of the Year by the Business World International Organization based in USA in 2017. She is a fellow member at Institute Management Sri Lanka and also serves in its council. Her motto is "Nothing is impossible." A role model to us all, it is indeed a huge honor to have you here with us today, Rotarian. Rotarian Gauri, the floor is now yours.
Thank you. A very good morning to all of you, and thank you, Binoy, for that kind introduction. DRR Kasun, DRR elect, and DRR nominee, and my dear fellow Rotaractors. It's truly wonderful to be connected to all of you this morning during a lockdown. In fact, I was looking forward to welcoming all of you in Kandy, as you all were to initially have your Rotaract conference staged in my hometown, Kandy. But then sadly, due to the pandemic situation, we had to meet through this, through Zoom via virtual. So thanks to the technology. However, I truly believe that thanks to the spirit of Rotaract and to the spirit of Rotary and the right energy, life has to go on, and whatever the things that was scheduled to have taken place should go on, regardless of whether it's a lockdown or not lockdown, as technology has changed and so many things have changed. So the topic that has been given to me today is new way of Rotary. So when you talk about new way of Rotary, what comes to your mind is the word change. And change is something that is extremely constant. Now, 2 years ago, we would have all met physically at a Rotaract conference or an assembly or whatever. But who would have even thought that we could connect virtually like this and still learn from one another, get inspiration, share stories, and also develop our leadership skills, just sitting in the comfort of your home and yet getting the same benefit. And the word change is something that's extremely important. In fact, if you look at even the top 500, the Fortune companies, if you see at the inception, how many companies were there, and after 65 years, if you see, it's only 10% of them survived. And why is that? When you analyze, you find only those that were open to change, who were willing to embrace the change, it's only they survived. The others, either they completely vanished or they had to merge and you won't even recall their names anymore. So therefore, change is something that we need to make, and we need to be willing to change. We need to embrace it if we are to stay relevant. And our organization, Rotary, being over 100 years and being the first networking and first service organization in the world, is more than ever to embrace change, as we do not wish to die away, but we need to survive for another few more centuries. So talking of the new way of Rotary, let me share my screen. I hope it's visible. Shaping Rotary's Future. This is the committee that was set up in the year 2018, chaired by past RI President Barry, and it's a 6-member committee. Together with, we have some licensed directors. Mainly it was set up to review the following issues: the leadership and the structure of our current model, the volunteer leadership layers between directors and the districts, the number, size, leadership, and the duties of governance. So that was the task that was originally given to us. Just for me to give you a basic introduction. So you all know that our Rotary's core values are the same, and it will remain the same. Nothing of this will change. That's the fellowship, the integrity, diversity, service, and leadership. As you know, we are an organization spread over 200 countries, and we have a fantastic diverse membership, people from all community and from all cultures. And henceforth, very often, one size does not fit all, because we all speak different language, we all think differently. We have the Rotaractors, we have the Interactors, we have the youth, we have the retired, and men and women. So why did they come up with this committee to look into the change? Firstly, membership is a big issue, as you all know. Our membership never seems to grow. We always seem to be at 1.2 million Rotarians for the last 10 years, and we have not crossed more than 1.2 million members. And every year, we also keep losing the members that we keep recruiting. So it's basically a revolving door. And secondly, many people, for some good or bad reasons, I do not know, they still have the perception that Rotary is for certain people. And this is compounded by the fact that we still struggle with gender parity in membership as well as in leadership. If you look at the membership retention worldwide, you can see the years of Rotarians. After the 5th year also, you can see how Rotarians, they rarely stay in Rotary. By the time they come to the 10th year, you can see how they are not maybe kept engaged, but then the membership is declined. And if you look at the male and the female, you can see the percentage, we are not doing that great. Whereas even if you look at, say, India, that's where our Sri Lankan region comes in. You can see where we are, just 13.3%. And you look at Sri Lanka, our women membership is greater in population. And here is the age. And you can see the age group. Once again, it's basically we don't get the young professionals in most of these districts and the zones. It's generally the elderly crowd. And then next is the governance structure. You can see our governance structure we have identified there are too many layers. If you look at the district level of Rotary, there are 29 mandated positions and 13 recommended roles. And in addition, there are so many other roles, sometimes even going up to 150 in a district. And at regional level, there are 200 regional leadership positions, 547 assistant leader positions. And most of these positions are appointment based. Hence, capable leaders do not have the visibility, nor do they get an opportunity to serve or to go up in the leadership ladder. So as a result, many knowledgeable Rotarians get left out. Then is the communications. I'm sure even in the Rotaract, you must be feeling that, because Rotary does have so many offerings, so many service opportunities, so many leadership opportunities, but then there is a very low member experience. Even the Rotaractors, sometimes I feel you all may not even be aware of the leadership experience that you get through this great organization, probably because the information does not get passed down to the grassroots, to the Rotarians and the Rotaractors, but it gets passed probably to the key leaders, and from there downwards, the information does not go. So what did this committee do? We started from the scratch. Say, if Paul Harris was to live today, and not in 1905 when he started Rotary, but if he was to live today and he wanted to start a networking organization, how would it look like? Would it look like the Rotary today? So these are some of the basic questions that we went through. I'm not going to go through one by one, but then simple questions like, what is a Rotary Club and what it does and why do we need it and all kind of things. And then that's how a draft model was designed. And we understood that the organization should be more participant-centric, meaning we should have, instead of being product-focused, we should be more customer-centric. And that's how we came up with this model, considering the needs of the participant meaning Rotarians and Rotaractors. So these are our opportunities for change, of what is changing in future or what is proposed, because these are only proposal and nothing has basically come to pass yet. Say the governance structure, the current leadership positions are certainly evolving. It's not that it's being removed or anything, but it's evolving where everyone has better chance to serve. Then the regional approach to governing has been proposed to be changed. Then there will be more leadership opportunities for both Rotaractors and Rotarians, and both Rotaractors and Rotarians can decide who exactly should represent them. And this will also help to remove layers of hierarchy so members can receive direct support and communication from Rotary rather than relying on district or club members to share information. So what is staying the same? The Rotary's vision, the leadership development in growing personally and professionally for all those who are interested, then the access to resources, access to grant funding, and of course the leadership development. So this is based on that, we just came up with this model. And for the sake of absolute new model being proposed in order to stay relevant, we are not using the word governor, we are just use the word leader over there. We do not know what the word is. It could be governor, it could be whatever. But then, as I said, if Paul Harris was to live today and if he was starting an organization, we really do not know what he would have, what would have been his vision. So therefore, we are proposing this model from the scratch. So you can see at the participant level, and you can see so many layers have been taken off. You have the Rotaractor, Rotarian, and the non-club participant. Then the club at the club level. Then the next level is the leader, which is whatever is the name that will come up. So, and then above that is a regional council and the regional council committees, which will look over, say, if you, right now you call it the district, but then we do not know what it would be called, but then it will be a leader to look after, say, maybe about 20 clubs. So regional council will look after a couple of regions. So each leader looks after about 20, 25 clubs. Maybe it can even go up to 30. And the regional council will be above that, looking after the full region, which right now you call it the zone. But then we are just removing the layers. As I showed you, there are over 500 people serving. Then above that, you can see is the global volunteer cadre. So cadres, they are specialized people in relevant subjects, maybe the foundation, maybe the PR, maybe membership, whatever the specialty areas. And then on top, you have the board of directors, and then you have the board of trustees. So this is basically a model that is being proposed. As you can see, even this will help even the Rotaractors and Rotarians who are skilled, rather than to go up in the leadership ladder of this organization and they will be picked based on your skill set, opposed to who you know exactly in Rotary. It's not the connections that matter anymore, but it's all about your skill set. So, and I think that's a great change, because this will also example, if you know, as I mentioned about, say, 20, 25 clubs, if a leader is overlooking. Just imagine you look at a place like Sri Lanka, where I feel it's something good, is we speak 3 languages here: Tamil, English, Sinhala, and then not everybody gets the opportunity to lead the entire district. It's generally a person who gets, of course, who gets elected, but then again, we do not seem to be electing people from the other areas. Not that it has been done intentionally, but hardly they get opportunities to be either a DRR or the governor or whatever, in the current context I'm saying. So here, this will enable us to have, say, one leader looking after 25 or 40 clubs. So you can have one in the north, one in the maybe for the Sinhala speaking clubs where they feel comfortable, because cultures differ. If you look at Rotary, the way the Rotary Club of Colombo organizes its events is completely different from a club in Anuradhapura or Panduvasnuwara. Now, example, me, when I was selected as a governor, I know we did collect quite a large sum to the Rotary Foundation, and Sri Lanka was placed number 2 in the world that year for highest per capita giving. But then, and that was the first time, but then again, I felt we could have been number 1 if not for my language barrier. I was able to speak in English and convince people in English, but I could, when I went to certain clubs who were speaking the local language, even though I can speak the local language in a average way, I could not go on stage and give a speech, both in Sinhala and in Tamil. I could not ever give a speech. So I knew I lacked that communication skill to inspire people, other people who could not understand English. So if I had that opportunity, I know we could have collected more funding to the Rotary Foundation to do good globally. So that way I feel this kind of a model will be excellent, as we will be able to reach more people to join Rotary, because each area has their own culture. They can reach out. Maybe there are, if you look at Sri Lanka, we have about 21 million population. And you look at Rotary membership, it's always between 1,900 to 2,100, not more. And how much? And I'm sure we can do better. We certainly should be able to get at least 5,000 Rotarians, because no one can say that Rotary is only for these 1,800 people. Likewise, I'm sure even so many of the Rotaractors who have been with us, who have been in this movement, not many want to join Rotary, probably because they do not get the opportunity for leadership, or maybe they do not seem to be getting what they expect. So based on that, only this kind of a model was proposed. And the next steps, research will be conducted by RI with members and district leaders in 9 countries. And the final data will be used to support the committee's proposed governance model or update it to align closely with what member wants. So whatever this model that I was speaking to you about is just a suggestion by a committee, but that doesn't mean it's coming to pass, because we will be getting the feedback and it will be shaped up so that the needs of the members are also met. And the next step is the Council on Legislation 2022. They need to vote to allow RI board to conduct pilots that will test a new governance structure for 100 pilot districts. So it's we are yet to see whether this will come to pass or not. But then I think change is something we need to always learn to embrace, because whatever the model, whatever the structure we have been following for the last 100 odd years has not worked at its full potential. So this is basically what I wanted to touch on, the new way of Rotary, and I'm open to Q&A from the members, because I like to make it a more interactive session.
Thank you, Rotarian. We have a couple of questions, so I would now direct them to you. So the first question that we received is, there are scholarships offered to Rotaractors. Can you guide us on the process and the criteria?
Okay, see, scholarships, there are quite a few. You have the peace scholarships. Peace scholarships, of course, are not open to Rotarians, but then it is open to for people who are going to do some peace studies in our 6 centers. And every year, even our district, we do call for nominations. So at that time, you could apply. Those are completely funded. Then in addition, you have the Georgia scholarship, which is from another district, where they do offer sponsorships. And we have sent so many every year. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, some of the Rotarians' children and maybe even Rotaractors, definitely Interactors, have benefited from it. So next year, when the turn comes, y'all can definitely apply. In addition, through the global grant, you can apply for scholarships for undergrads, for post-graduation, and for about a period of 4 years, you can. And it's just that in Sri Lanka, what you call the DDF, the District Designated Fund, which is governed by the Foundation Committee and the governor, of course, we mainly use it for the purpose of humanitarian grants. Because the need in Sri Lanka is so great, especially in the backdrop of this pandemic and even otherwise. But there are other ways of doing it. When you connect with other districts, when you are friendly with when you make connections with other Rotary districts, you can get them to be our partner, and maybe you can get your Rotary club involved in maybe putting some cash contribution to the project, so that grant can be organized. And I, of course, would recommend, if there are any members here who would like to know the technicality of it, maybe DRR Kasun could even organize a 2-hour or a 3-hour workshop via Zoom. We can get our team organized to basically explain to you all how the structure works, because I'm sure you all can also participate in grants, apply for grants. It's just that whatever the global grants that you apply for should focus in 6 areas. And of course, from next year, the 7th area. So the disease prevention, education, these are the areas. Then maternal and child health, water and sanitation, literacy, and the environmental, which is coming in as a new focus.
Thank you, Rotarian. The next question we received is, with the new changes, will Rotaract have access to global grants, and how do we prepare ourselves for doing global grant projects?
I think, I mean, definitely you all should, but I'm not sure when exactly. But right now, even now, you all have access. You all can work with your parent club. There is nothing preventing you, because I remember even before Elevate Rotaract came into existence, the Rotaract Club of Kandy, which is sponsored by the Rotary Club of Kandy, years and years ago, I know they participated in a big grant together with us. And that project was basically implemented by them. So even now, nothing prevents you from applying for grants. So now I know y'all will be from which year are y'all going to start paying the RI dues? Year after? I think the year after, not next year, the year after. So Rotary is also discussing on what are the benefits that they can give of a y'all. One is that I'm sure y'all must be already know about the leadership module, which is being developed by the Toastmasters International for y'all. And then even the grants, definitely we should be able to, okay, 2022, I can read Kasun's message. Even the grants, even for Rotarians, in fact, even though the Rotary clubs are allowed to apply, there are certain criteria. Example, because we wanted to ensure stewardship. Every year, a Rotary club has to attend the grants management seminar before the fiscal year begins, because the year begins in July. So somewhere about May or so, we have the district grants management seminar, where it is mandatory for the incoming president, the foundation chair to participate, the president-elect, right? And they need to attend that 3 or 4 hour session. And then only the club gets qualified. So only if the club gets qualified, they can even apply for a grant. Because the main thing is we want even the Rotary clubs to understand what is the procedure. Because unlike self-funded funds, these foundation funding, we consider it extremely sacred because it is from the public and we are absolutely answerable. So all the guidelines are given, and stewardship is extremely important, whilst also the sustainability of the project. It's not just like going somewhere and meeting the need of a person for a couple of days, but then sustainability component is extremely important for grants. So therefore, it's a process. So likewise, even for Rotaractors, you all also have to be educated on the steps of how to apply for grants, and when the grants are given, how you all should learn to manage. So it's a process. So it is not something that I can speak just like that over a Q&A, but then definitely it's a good idea for you all to get engaged, for you all to understand, and that will also help your member experience as well. So anytime that you all are planning to organize something like that, we are ready. Even 2 hours, 3 hours is good on Zoom.
Thank you, Rotarian. The next question is, are there any suggestions on how to sustain membership both in Rotary and Rotaract?
Sustain membership. Okay, my question is, what was the membership of Rotaract last year? In Sri Lanka. Let's look at Sri Lanka.
That is 5,960 PDG Gauri.
And the year before?
It was relatively less, about I think it was almost hitting 5,000. Yes, but we did a lot of cleansifying of members, and then after that we
And
went to 5,960 at the end of last year.
And how about this year?
As of now, 8,200.
Okay, excellent. So I think we should ask from you.
As of now, 8,200. So we might be able to reach about 8,300 at the end of the year.
Okay, so did you have any people dropping, or have you been recruiting new members? In the sense, have people retain membership? What has been the percentage of members who have retained in Rotaract? Is Hassan muted? I think he's muted.
Sorry, Pirish Gauri, I think my connection went a little haywire. I couldn't hear the question. I'm really sorry.
Now, what is the retention mean of the Rotaractors? I know you all have been recruiting.
So when it comes to retention, on average, a member would stay close to a period of 3 to 4 years in Rotaract. That's on an average level, but it differs PG Gauri, because we have a majority of institute-based clubs. So whereas it's mainly towards that skewedness towards 3 to 4 years come in. But when it comes to community-based club, I think we can safely say a Rotaractor stays about 4 to 5 years minimum.
Okay, so I think that 4 to 5 years you need to improve, unless of course it's because now in the backdrop of even the age being removed now, right? I think you all should be able to, or you should see the transition to Rotary. Okay, so coming back to the question of how to sustain membership. Well, you need to be customer centric. And who are the customers? It's the Rotarians and it's the Rotaractors. And what's the product? The product of Rotary, the product of Rotaract that you offer. So are you offering what you want to offer, or are you offering what they need? And you can see Rotary that way has been changing a lot. Years ago, the rule was, that is right at the inception, if you don't attend 3 consecutive meetings, you don't have to ask permission from anybody, you're automatically terminated from the club. That's how strict Rotary was. And then they said you need so much of percentage, otherwise you will be kicked out. But then now, to make things easier, because what we realize is it's not attending meetings that matters, but it is the member engagement. So we are promoting more member engagement, where as long as they are engaged in a program, it could be in some way. In fact, we even introduced the e-clubs where you can meet online or WhatsApp or whatever way, still it is considered acceptable. And now from 4 meetings, we have come to 2 meetings a month. And we also promote cost-based organizations, cost-based in the sense it could be a group who are interested only in one particular aspect. Now, example, let me take my club, the Rotary Club of Kandy. We are hoping to form a satellite club at the golf club in Kandy, at Diganam, because you have a group of guys, who are not Rotarians, men and women who play golf, and they meet anyway regularly. So we thought, why don't we ask them to be, why don't we form a satellite club out of them? So it doesn't matter if they are interested in playing golf and doing projects in their own community, because we also have in Rotary what you call golf playing Rotarians or golf game loving Rotarians, just like how you have the cricket loving Rotarians. So like that, we have different groups. So even many non-Rotarians who find there are so many fellowships organizations like this, like the traveling Rotarians was a hit before COVID, because now, of course, due to the travel restrictions, probably not. But then people who loved going and playing cricket all over, there were people who just joined Rotary just to play cricket or just to get connected to those course-based groups. So like that, we need to find ways to stay relevant without saying one size fits all, because one size does not fit all. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, Rotarian. Thank you so much. We have one last question. Will there be separate leadership positions for Rotary and Rotaract in the future, or is it going to be a common leader?
The Rotaractors are now considered as members of Rotary International. See, I do not know what will happen after 10 years or 20 years, right? If 10 years ago, if somebody had asked me, can you have a meeting virtually? I would have said no, right? If 10 years ago, or maybe even 15 years ago, somebody had asked, without coming for your club, can I still be your member? I would have said no. And 15 years ago, somebody had asked, okay, are the Rotaractors equal to Rotarians? My answer would have been no, because Rotaract was just a program. but today all are considered equal. So Rotary is an evolving organization. We never know what the future holds, but that position which I mentioned, the leader position, is for anybody. It's for a Rotaractor as well as for a Rotarian. So depending on your area, it's up to the district or whatever the terminology to decide. But the flexibility is given for the Rotaractor or the Rotary or the Rotarian. Because end of the day, it's by election. And if Rotaractors select, they select whoever they want. But the option or the flexibility is given. So I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, Rotarian. Thank you so much. That's all the questions we have. Once again, thank you very much for sending in the questions as well. Rotarian, your insights has been very progressive and inspiring. Thank you once again for being here with us today. It means a lot. It's truly been an honor to hear from you today. Thank you, Rotarian PDG Gauri.
Thank you, Binoy, and thank you for inviting. It's been a pleasure being here.
All right, Rotaractors, moving on, let us now move on to a more casual segment. But before we do, can I please ask all the Rotaractors present here today to switch on their cameras, please? We would like to see everyone here. Everyone would like to see everyone. We are now moving on to an entertainment item, so we would like some engagement. So Rotaractors, please go ahead and switch on your cameras. So to break the monotony of this event and to entertain us all with her amazing singing capabilities, we have here with us today Rotaractor Midori Karunaratne from the Rotaract Club of Colombo Central. She is also a contestant of The Voice Sri Lanka. Midori, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Sitaknam sitamrat ubat mangwage mai niskam ben menyabi sitaknam hitamrat ubat mangwage mai niskam ben menyabi inaven geuna kale netukak kisida එකක්වත් හිත්‍රිදුනා නම් මේ දුකත් නෙවුණා එකෙක්වත් හැලුනේ නෑනේ එක්කුණොත් එහෙමයි ඉතින් මේ රජකම් ලැබුණේ සමගියෙන් සත්තයි ජීවේ ඔබෙන්මයි උපන්නේ ඔබයි ජය ලබන්නේ හෙටත් විනෑගන්නේ Padunat nagitinnahe shaktiyak labuni itenam hayaye jayakamaye dine adattehemai hetattehemai samadakam pere itin den jayadata lagune samagiye dasate jive oben mayu panne obai jala banne hetak binegenne rane ekavan adi ekavan peri dinagana loke jive oben mayu panne obai jala banne hetak binegenne ekavan adi ekavan peri dinagana loke sitaknam sitam ranai. Thank you.
Wow, that was an amazing performance, Midori. Thank you so much for being here today. Ladies and gentlemen, that deserves a round of applause for that amazing performance. Well done, Minori. Thank you so much for being here today. All right, moving on. If you joined us for the past couple of days, we introduced two engaging and fun activities to kind of celebrate the conference, right? So today we have another similar activity for you, and it's a giveaway as well. You can win prizes. So all you have to do is post a picture of an object or objects you use to reduce carbon footprint in your Instagram story. Be sure to tag the district Instagram page, conference page, and your club page. Tag your friends and nominate them to do the same. The post that shows the most diverse objects will be awarded with an exciting prize. So hurry up and take part and nominate your friends as well. I will repeat the process one more time. All you have to do is post a picture of an object or objects you use to reduce carbon footprint in your Instagram story and tag the district Instagram page, conference page, and your club page. Tag your friends and nominate them to do the same, and you can stand a chance to win an exciting prize. Good luck. And now, ladies and gentlemen, up next we have a very important segment. It is high time as young citizens we start acting responsibly with regard to the environment, especially in this day and age. Due to obvious reasons, environmental conservation and awareness has become a new Rotary area of focus. And for this reason, to give us all a very unique and most importantly, a very practical outlook on how we can contribute to saving our ecosystem, we have invited a very passionate and knowledgeable individual, Ms. Hirushini Vedage. She is the founding director of Pale Sri Lanka chapter of Pale for the Oceans. She also has a bachelor's in zoology from the University of Colombo, a master's in conservation from the University of Cambridge. And she is also a global marine conservation fellow from the Duke University. Ms. Hiroshini, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So first of all, let me thank the District Rotaract Conference team, if that is what you call it, for giving me this opportunity, because I'm pretty excited to be here today. Because to be honest, like about 10 years back, I was where you guys are, listening to all these stories, and I know how those people inspired me and impacted my life in a positive way. So I'm pretty excited to be here talking to you today before you, and I'll try my best not to disappoint you today. And thank you again for being here today. I will be sharing my screen now. Can you all see the screen? I hope you can see the screen. Yeah.
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
we can.
just before I start, I'll just give a brief introduction to what my organization is. So Pale is a global environmental movement. Our special focus is the oceans, of course. And then one of our major focus areas within that is ocean plastic pollution. So if you have not heard of Pale before, that is probably because we are pretty new to Sri Lanka. We started our operations officially in 2019, and we've been doing a lot of work, but probably under the radar, like, we were not very visible in Sri Lanka all this time. So if you don't know much about it, don't worry about it. We're headquartered in New York, and we are operating in over 30 countries. And in Sri Lanka, we've been doing a lot of projects like beach cleanups, a lot of awareness programs, community engagement programs. And also we have a lot of exciting projects in the pipeline. So we'll talk about all of this, but I've given only 30 minutes, so let me jump right in. One thing I wanted to, so how I'm going to structure this presentation or the talk is that I will be giving our examples, our approaches to our initiatives. And through that, I'm going to, because the task that I'm given today is to talk to you about how we can make a real environmental impact, a positive environmental impact through our projects and initiatives. So to do that, I'll be talking about our projects and how we do that and why we do it in that way. You must be thinking we are too strict and those are not necessary, but I'll tell you why we are doing it that way so that you also can, when you design and implement projects, you also can think of those things. Because we see a lot of environmental projects happening around and we see a lot of problems in those too, but when people do it, they are doing it with the best intentions, but sometimes it's not the right thing to do. So let's see how we can, you are a bunch of, passionate enthusiasts. So let's see how we can put that energy in the right direction to create a better impact on the environment. So that is what we're trying to do today. So to start with, I'm gonna, so as I said, we are focusing a lot on ocean plastic pollution. So I'm gonna talk about the problem first, a little bit, very briefly, because I think understanding the problem is very important when you design a solution to that. So I'll be talking a little bit about the problem and then I'm jumping to the solutions, the programs that we do around it. And then I'll tell you why we do it and why it is important to do it that way. And if you have any questions, you can type it in the chat panel or you can even ask me right away, not a problem at all. Right, so if we all know oceans are important, I'm not going to talk about that. But if someone asked me to give just one reason why we should be protecting our oceans, I would say that is because every second breath we take is created by the ocean. A lot of people talk about forests, they're very important ecosystems. But if you look at what oceans are doing, it's also very important, but it's a neglected ecosystem altogether because in the past it was actually a dumping yard. People were sending all their trash into the ocean because it disappears there. People don't see what is happening beneath those the mass of water. But to remind you, 50 to 70% of the oxygen we breathe is coming from the ocean. So that is a good enough reason for us to go and save it. So this is what our planet looks like from space. And as you can see, more than 70% of it is the oceans. And this is what it would look like without the oceans. And as you can see, there is absolutely no life without the ocean. So no oceans, no life. So as I said, the oceans are at risk today. There are so many risks, so many challenges faced by the oceans, like, overfishing is one thing, ocean acidification, because of climate change, the corals are bleaching, and there are oil spills happening, and there are underwater like mining and things like that. So ecosystem is actually in trouble. But today what we are going to talk about is this one particular problem that is very visible to us, which is the ocean plastic pollution. So this is a beach in Bali, actually. If you really look at this, we can see this kind of beaches in Sri Lanka also. Not very far, if you go to this Crow Island area, that Matakuli area, after good rain, then you will see a beach like this. But why I wanted to post this picture was, this is actually not waste generated in Indonesia. This waste is actually coming from either US or Europe through the currents. So what I'm trying to say here is, when you look at a problem, now environmental problems are mostly global problems. So what I'm trying to tell you through this slide is that when you look at a problem, don't think it as like a very local problem. It is a global problem, and also try not to kind of play this blame game of, this is not our problem, and this should be government's responsibility, this should be this person's responsibility, that person's responsibility. Well, what you should be doing is, if you see a problem, go ahead and address it to your fullest capacity. So that is why I was actually trying to tell you through this slide. So as I said, plastic waste pollution is a global problem. Now we see these kind of problems in Sri Lanka also, not only in Bali. We did a cleanup in Delft the island of Jaffna last year. And what we saw was a lot of it's not a very populated island. Right? It's not there are no many people there, but there were a lot of trash, and most of the trash were coming actually from India. But we had to, now it's here and it's our problem, right? So we wanted to address it. So don't think these environmental problems are local problems. They are global problems. We have to take actions locally, and that is where you come in. And this video, if you have a closer look at all this trash, you will see they are actually the things that we use on a daily basis. Again, what I'm trying to say is sometimes the answer to the problem is not here. Maybe you don't have to get your hands dirty to solve these issues. Maybe you can do it at home, do it at the supermarket, or do it at your market so that the problem does not get here, right? So when you look at a problem, an environmental problem, try to look at the roots of the problem, the causes of the problem. I mean, I'm not saying beach cleanups are not important, but before getting all this trash into the oceans, you can actually stop before that. So when you're designing projects or when you're trying to implement projects, don't only look at the last bit of it. Think about the entire problem and just try to pick the most impactful or effective way to solve that problem. Another problem with plastics is plastics don't break down. They only break apart. So it's not like, orange peel degrading or anything like that. What happens to plastic is that they break into smaller pieces when they get exposed to UV light. And I think I'm correct if I say this, whatever plastic that was like manufactured on this planet is still there in some form or shape. So they are broken into pieces, but they're somewhere as nanoplastics, microplastics, whatever you call it, smaller pieces. And the problem doesn't end there. They get into animals, like innocent animals like this, right? Now this albatross is actually, this is a picture taken in a very remote island in Hawaii. Now that is a place where people can't go. It's a sanctuary, it's a protected area. But see, this problem has traveled to that place through this medium, the ocean, right? So they eat these plastic pieces thinking that it's food, and they starve to death because their bellies are full, but actually they're not getting any nutrients out of it. Again, if you really look at this picture, see the bird is degrading, but not the plastics. So it's actually a problem. So again, when you look at a problem, an environmental problem, please keep in mind that this problem can reach to places that you can't even imagine. So try to be educated, like try to educate yourself about the problem more and more. Then when you design and implement environmental programs, you can be more impactful. You can think of all the little things that other people don't think of and make it more effective. That the problem doesn't stop there, it also comes back to us. Why I put this slide was actually to tell you one thing, of course, whatever we put in the ocean comes back to us through our food. But the other thing I want to tell you is communicating these problems are also very important. When you try to communicate about a project, try to find the best way to communicate it to the audience. Now, when I speak to parents of kids, I always try to highlight the health impacts of plastics rather than talking too much about the environmental impact. Because I know for a fact, as a parent, they are more concerned about their child's health than of some environment that they don't understand of. So when you try to communicate or like market one of your environmental projects, try to be tactful, like try to use the best way to communicate that project. So that is why this slide is there. Okay. And also, this is something that people don't talk much about. Plastic is also is actually also contributing to climate change. If you didn't know, plastic is originated, the plastic is manufactured as a byproduct of oil and gas industry. So if you use plastic, if you promote plastics, that means actually you are indirectly promoting these oil and gas companies as well. And as you know, oil and gas companies are behind this climate change problem. And that climate change again affects oceans and all our environment. So think of all this when you think of an environmental problem. So when you frame the problem to find a solution, read about it, talk to people, and then try to design whatever the thing that you want to do to solve that problem. So another thing that scientists say is there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish by 2050, actually by 2048, that is the deadline. So this is alarming actually, it's not far away. 2050 is around the corner, and if we continue to work like this, to consume plastics like this, produce plastics like this, then by 2050 there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. So when you communicate, again, try to relate to people's lives. Don't say there will be this many tons of plastic or anything like that. Try to give it to the people in a way that they can relate to the problem. Again, coming back to communications when you do environmental projects. So what Parley is doing, I'll tell you what our strategy is, and then I'll jump to our projects and how we do it and why we do it. So Parley is, as I said, we are very concerned about this ocean plastic pollution, and we have come up with a strategy called Parley Air Strategy to put a stop to this plastic pollution. So this is a little different from what other people use because of this avoid section and also redesign section. Most of the people do this intercept part. So I'll explain what it is. Avoid is avoiding plastic whenever possible, especially virgin plastics, where it's actually manufactured fresh, right? Intercept is a big word, but what it normally says is trying to stop plastic from entering the oceans. It could be any way that you do. So from you throwing it away, putting it away, and between that and getting into the ocean, if you can just intercept or retrieve these plastics, then that is intercept. Redesign is maybe the redesigning of the plastic as a material, like having alternative materials, or redesigning your lifestyle where you are less dependent on plastics. So this is our strategy. I'll take one by one and explain these things and what are the projects that we do in order to implement this on the ground. Avoid. So how can we avoid plastics? One is if you don't need something, please don't buy it. Before you buy something, just think twice whether you really want it. If it's made of plastics, at least try to see whether it's made of recycled plastics, and after using, can it be recycled? Now, there are certain things that you can actually recycle, that are recycled, but then after you use it, it cannot be recycled. So that is something you really have to think of when you purchase something. And also you can switch to other alternatives, and you can take a pledge to avoid something. Like for example, when we do a program with kids, we always say, make a pledge, a small one, something doable. So that is a start. So when you do that, you know you can take the next step. So this is something important. This is something that you can do within your universities, within your schools or whatever. You can start by doing just one thing and then build on that, right? So I'll tell you one example. I went to a school in Kalutara like last year, I guess, and they were like saying, okay, our school is plastic free. Now, I was pretty excited. I mean, I didn't expect a school like that to go plastic free because they didn't have that kind of exposure. I didn't know that, teachers were kind of, they are into this kind of thing. So I was pretty excited. So I was talking to the principal and I asked, okay, tell me what your strategy is. So I'm sure that you're not selling any yogurts or, all these drinks in your canteen as well. They were like, no, we sell all of that. But what we do is we ask kids to to take the trash home. Now, that is actually not solving a problem. That is actually transporting that system from the school to a house or something. Because these people, these kids, I mean, after telling them to take the trash home, they actually don't know. I mean, the principal doesn't know what they're going to do with it. Maybe they're ditching, like dumping it on the roadside, or maybe they're taking it home and they must be burning it. But that is not what should happen. If you really want to address this problem, then what I should have done is like placing a bin in the school, putting all that trash into the bin and arranging logistics so that we know that trash is going to the right place. So when you do a project, you have to really think what the consequences are. It's not like transferring your problem to someone else. It's actually addressing the problem actively. So this is a school in the Maldives, actually. So they have switched using their water bottles from plastic, because as you know, Maldives has this water issue. So they always use this bottled water. So what we try to do in the Maldives is actually we try you help them replace their plastic bottles with something, a metal alternative. So this is a start. Now we are using these kids as ambassadors, or maybe as agents of change, to take this message to another party, like the parents or the teachers. So sometimes you have to use other groups to kind of apply pressure on a group that you really want to apply pressure on. And also we do awareness programs. We work with anyone and everyone. Like we work with the divers, we work with educators, we work with teachers, surfers, artists, to take this message out to the public. Why we work with these diverse groups is because different people connect to things in different ways. So for some people it's the science, some people it's the arts. So we can't exclude anyone, because this is a journey that we should go together. So it's very important that we get everyone involved. So we have to find the best way to get everyone involved. So anyone who's passionate, interested about the oceans, we work with them. What is intercept? Intercept, as I said, is actually removing plastics or stopping plastics from going to the oceans. Right? So how do we do it? Now, one very famous way of doing it is beach cleanups. Now, we do a lot of beach cleanups in Sri Lanka also. But when we do cleanups, there are a few things that we are very concerned about. Now, when we do a cleanup, we can't be generating more waste than what we collect. Now, I have seen a lot of people do beach cleanups, and they use these disposable garbage bags to collect plastics, and they use disposable gloves, so on and so forth. And actually, if you really look at the project, you have actually generated more waste than what you collected from the environment. So if you want to keep your net impact positive, then you have to think of all these things before you design a project. The other thing is, now everyone is like really interested in getting this cool t-shirt for this event. Like, think of this. Now, if you are printing a t-shirt or a cap or something to just pick up 10 kilograms of waste from the beaches, then your environmental impact is negative, right? Just Google what is the environmental impact of printing a t-shirt, making a t-shirt and printing a t-shirt. That is actually way higher than picking up 10 kilograms of waste from the coastline. So when you do a project, try to keep your environmental impact from that project, the negative impact, minimal, so that you can actually have a net positive impact on the environment. Now, when we normally give, not normally, we actually give vegan food when we do cleanups and stuff, because that has the lowest environmental impact. So recently, when we tried to work with a bunch of young people, what they said was, our volunteers are not vegan, right? Now, these are like real world examples. So I understand I'm not vegan myself. I'm trying to get there, but I'm not yet there. But why we give vegan food is because we don't want to make our net impact a negative one by giving like poultry or meat or something like that. So when you also do like, these are the things that you really need to think of when you design a project, when you want to create a real impact, because these are the things that you miss out on. You don't think, okay, you want to give the best possible thing to your volunteers. Yes, I understand if they're willingly, give away their kind of the time and energy to save the environment. Of course, we have to give them a good meal or whatever. But if you're giving beef or chicken or fish, of course, then if you really do the calculations, your environmental footprint is way higher than the impact that you actually try to create on the ground. So think of all this. So one other thing, so another thing that I wanted to tell you was travel. Now, don't try to travel from one place to a far, far away place to do a project, because sometimes when you're traveling, that emissions are involved, right? So if you want to do a project, do it locally. That's the best. And just going beyond these environmental cleanups, I have seen a lot of mangrove restoration projects and stuff like that, and also other like forest restoration projects. Now, when you do that kind of things, also try to find the best variety to plant and the best place to plant. What happens is normally they just go grab a few plants, put it somewhere, and they don't even look at it after that. It can't be like that. If you do something like that, you have to monitor. And also, if you see a mud flat somewhere, don't go and plant mangroves haphazardly there, because a mud flat is another ecosystem. Whatever muddy is not the best place to plant a mangrove. So what I'm trying to say is, try to get the experts involved. They know where to plant the mangroves. They know what type of mangroves to plant, or what types of other plants to plant there in a area that you want to reforest. So don't just go and do things, because that can make more harm than the good you are trying to create. And also talking about cleanups or interception projects. Now, doing a beach cleanup is really cool. It connects people with a real problem. They get to see these kind of things, like what is there on the beach and where it is coming from and all that. But if you can really do it before it gets there, by putting a bin in your university, or a place where it should be in your neighborhood, that is the best way. Because there are few problems in the environment, the plastics that we retrieve from the environment. If they are dirty, we have to do a lot of washing. That is a lot of energy and money. And then sometimes if they are not in good condition, you can't actually recycle these. So you might be thinking these people are actually recycling it, but no, they will again end up in another landfill. But if you can trap these plastics fresh, a bottle which is not very old, then of course you can recycle it and make a t-shirt or something else out of it. So don't think that all types of plastics can be recycled. In Sri Lanka, only the hard plastics can be recycled, like these PET bottles, the drink bottles, and HDPE, that is the milk cartons and Harpic bottles kind of thing. So, I mean, you have to know certain things. Even if you pick up, you can't recycle them in Sri Lanka. Now there is this one group who is recycling polythene, the soft plastics, now in Sri Lanka. But for them also, there are only certain soft plastics, and also it should be clean and dry and all that before, like otherwise they can't recycle it. So it's very important to understand recycling is not a solution. It's only a stepping stone until we find a proper solution to plastic. So that is why we are saying avoid. Whenever possible, avoid. But if you really must use, buy something made of recycled plastics and make sure that can be recycled again. And again, another thing that I want to tell is that when you try to do environmental projects, I understand that you have to raise funds. So when you raise funds, try to get the donations or sponsorships from sustainable businesses. Do not let who are part of the problem come and work with you so that they can greenwash their brands. What a lot of people, a lot of brands, I mean, I'm not here to brand shame or anything like that, but as you know, a lot of big companies who are helping these environmental projects are part of the problem, not part of the solution. What they try to do is they try to give a small donation, throw some money here and there, and try to greenwash their label. So if you try to onboard them, then actually you're helping them to kind of aggravate this problem. So this is underwater cleanup that we do. As you can see, these cleanups are actually risky and expensive as well. So if you can trap this plastic before going into the ocean in your communities, that would be a better project than doing some of these projects. I'm not saying these are not important because the problem has already gone there and we have to address that. But if you can address it before that, that would be the best thing to do. And other part, redesign. I was talking about redesigning lives and redesigning plastic alternatives. So this is one upcycling project that these people are doing because as you know, cigarette butts can be very detrimental to the environment. So they are making surfboards out of those. Just to keep these harmful things out of the environment and in the loop. But what I'm saying is, if you can avoid smoking, that would be the best thing to do, right? And this is another project. Now, as I said, we have a partnership with Adidas. So again, what I'm saying is Adidas is not a plastic-free company. But what we try to do with them is actually we have asked them to make like a bolder and bigger commitments in order to partner with us. We don't just partner with anyone and everyone. So Adidas, by 2024, they will stop using any virgin plastics in their shoes and their other products. So that is big. And also, whatever they try to make, all their shoes will be 100% recyclable. So that is a big achievement. And this mission, what you see today on the screen is, it's called The Chase of the Thunder. That was our partner, Sea Shepherds. They have gone and kind of captured these, they try to chase this boat and get it's a boat that who did illegal fishing actually. So the ship sank. I think it was done deliberately, but the Sea Shepherds try to retrieve all the nets that were there. So the first shoe that we designed with Adidas was made out of that fish net, which is a nylon net. But at the moment, actually, now we are using PET bottles for shoes. So this is one of my favorite redesign projects. Not really because it's Harley, but I think because Adidas took the leadership to change the entire industry. Following them, there are a lot of people who are following their footsteps now to do shoes and apparels out of recycled plastics. So these are a few things that you all can do. Taking the pledge, you can avoid plastics, you can educate a community. When you now you have learned something, you can transfer that knowledge to another community. It could be another school, it could be another group in your universities, or it could be your neighborhood, your family, so anyone. And then cleanups, of course, you can either join our cleanups or you can organize your own cleanup. It needn't be like, a cleanup on the beach. As I said, it could be a plastic interception point in your neighborhood or in a school or in the university. We are happy to help you with that. Just contact me. And school events. Now, there are these days coming like the World Oceans Day, the Coastal Cleanup Day, Environment Day, so on and so forth, Earth Day. So for those, you can kind of come up with events that you can do as a community. And also you can be creative as university students, as the youth, you can actually do more. Be creative, think of all the nice solutions that you can come up with to these kind of environmental problems. Now, I'm biased towards plastics because that is what I know best, but this is true with any environment project, right? So that is what I have to say in brief, but you can ask me any question now, and I invite all of you to be part of our movement. We have a Facebook page, or a group rather, this is called Sri Lanka, please join that. At the moment, we have actually stopped our field work because of Corona, but whenever the country is open again, we'll be starting our field work again. If you want to do something, please contact me. I'm very happy to help. For a cleanup interception point, if you want to do education program within the universities, or if you want to do an outreach program, I'm happy to help. Just contact me. And don't think that you're too small to make an impact. It's just that if you just look at yourself picking up 10 kilograms of plastics a year, then think of your what as a family you can do, as a community what you can do, as a university what you can do. So it's going to be big when you act together. So don't think this is a small thing. You can always, looking at you, a lot of people will follow your footsteps, and you are the leaders of the community. So please make use of that leadership or the enthusiasm, that energy you have to create an impact on the environment. And I have some good news. We are actually hiring now. So if you are interested in joining us in any way, we are looking for interns and volunteers, full-time, part-time. And we have a lot of work. It could be field work, it could be boring behind the desk jobs. Like if you are a graphic designer, if you're a photographer, we have work for you. So if you want to do something with us, please contact me. That would be really good. Also, I was not going to tell you this, but anyways, I thought let's give it a shot. We are fundraising for our projects. It's a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign. If you want to become a fundraiser or if you want to donate, please contact me. I'll tell you how to do it. You can actually become a fundraiser as a club or a district even. Like you can come on board as a Rotaract candy or something like that, and then become a fundraiser and raise funds for us, which can be, again, this is 100% for Sri Lanka, I'll tell you, because we are a global organization. So if you want to become a fundraiser for Sri Lanka, contact me. I will facilitate that. Or you can just donate something, even 100 rupees, it can go a long way. So this is our Sri Lanka fundraising page, and this is my personal page. You also can create pages like
Was that clear enough, ma'am?
Sorry, can you please repeat?
Yes. The glass is produced by a greater carbon emission than plastic. If all plastic PET bottles are to be replaced by glass, wouldn't the net negative effect on the environment be higher?
Right. So that's a very good question. But the thing is, glass is actually not a reactive thing. So it does not react with a lot of things in the environment. So it's not harmful to, most of the time, it's not harmful for us or to the biodiversity in general. But yes, logistics wise, it could be like for example, if you're taking this much of X amount of fuel to transport glass from A to B, then if you're transporting glass from A to B, then that cost would be, the environmental cost would be more. So that is why we ask people to buy local, try to reuse, don't own like thousands of glass bottles, just use one glass bottle, reuse it until you die would be a good thing. So it's not only about just what you use, it's also about the frequency of what you use and also the number of kind of objects that you possess also. Like if it's like one glass bottle versus 10 plastic bottles, then I think one glass bottle is much better than using 10 or 20 uh, plastic bottles. So, so don't, it's not apple to apple comparison. So don't try to, when you look at a problem, think of think of everything. So it's not only about picking the material, it's also about picking, I mean, maybe like, for example, if a household has some, I don't know, say a machine, right? And if you can share it with your neighbors as well, then actually, for example, say if it's a, I don't know, a blender, I'm just saying, right? And not every household is using the blender every day. I'm just saying this is silly, it can't be, I'm just giving you this example. So if you can actually share it among all of you, it's just one thing that is going around. So it's actually better than every household owning a blender. So it's like that. So don't only think about the material, think about how frequently you use it and how many of those you own. So that is how you should be calculating your environmental footprint. So I understand glass has a manufacturing glass might have a higher environmental impact, but usage of it, the frequency of usage and where you take it. Like for example, if you are using it locally, if you're not transporting it from Colombo to Kandy, if it's locally manufactured, then the cost is low. So that is why you should always go for locally manufactured things. Not only glass and stuff, even food, many things.
All right, thank you, madam. The next question we have is, we have the Paris Agreement to talk on global warming. Is that a global target and an international pledge on plastic reductions?
So I can't answer that off the top of my mind, but there are many global, can you, so I'm not sharing anything anymore, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay, cool. Right. So there are many conventions that is addressing, like, you know, plastic problem. Now, what we are trying to do in Sri Lanka and also in the South Asia is we are trying to many other like UN and all that to address this in South Asia. We have a lot of they're actually not conventions, but they are regional collaborations to end plastic pollution. But again, this is a global issue. It can't be done only regionally also, but as you know, Asia is the biggest polluter, so we want to have some sort of collaboration um, in the region as well. So there are many conventions, and like if you really try to shove this problem into these kind of little clauses, you can really do it. Like for example, when you say pollution, if pollution is not addressed as plastic pollution, it's okay, but it's still pollution. So you can actually use those conventions to address this problem. So likewise, we have a lot of conventions, but what we want to do is, again, try to act locally for these, because it's what you do as individuals will make an impact when you do things together. So as I said, don't play this blame game. It's that convention, this convention, it's the government, it's the UN. That's not going to work, because we are reaching a deadline. We actually, by 2048, our oceans will be gone if we didn't act as individuals right now.
Thank you, madam. The next question we have got is carrying out beach cleanups is just a temporary solution for the issue of mismanaged plastics being added to the ocean. What would be a sustainable solution for this issue?
Yeah, so that is exactly what I was actually explaining. So this Parlay Air strategy is the sustainable solution. So if I go back, we always educate people to avoid using plastics. So avoiding is the best solution. But we understand because of the convenience, because of the availability, we are using plastic. So what we are trying to say is if you're using plastic, if you must use plastics, then try to use recycled plastics, not virgin plastics, and make sure that these, after using, they are recycled. So until we find a solution, we are keeping that in the loop, not in the environment. Again, as I said, beach cleanup is the last resort. That's not the best thing to do. That's not the most impactful thing to do. But we have to do it because the problem has reached that point, right? So we are trying to connect people with the beach cleanup because that actually gives them a better understanding of the problem so that they can actually go home and do something about it. So we are using that as an educational activity as well. But as I said, of course, that is a very fair point. This is not a solution. This is only a band-aid. It's only, I mean, it has reached there, so we have to do something about it. But as I said, what we have to do is we have to avoid using plastics and also replace all kinds of plastics with plastic alternative material. Now, talking of plastic alternatives, maybe I'm going a little off track, but I'd like to introduce you to these terms: biodegradable plastics, bioplastics, and compostable plastics. Now, don't get deceived by these terminology. Now, when you say biodegradable plastic, people, what they do is they actually take the normal plastic mixture, they add additives like vegetable oil or corn flour, cornstarch to this mix so that the plastic breaks apart easily. So it disappears soon, but actually the problem is still there in the form of microplastic. And the worst thing about this kind of biodegradable plastics is that you can't actually recycle this kind of plastics also because it doesn't fit in the recycling process or cycle or machinery, right? But again, compostable is actually, well, compostable, but sometimes what happens is they cannot be composted in your normal backyard compost base. It needs industrial composting facilities to compost. So unless you have that, then your compostable plastic is actually not compostable, right? And the other thing is these compostable or bioplastics, what they call is, they are made of plant material, so they are not as bad as these toxic petroleum chemicals. But the problem is when they degrade, they emit methane, not carbon dioxide or anything like that. So as you know, methane is, so this plant-based plastic material is manufactured from something called polylactic acid. So when polylactic acid degrades or biodegrades, it produces this gas called methane, which is again a greenhouse gas, which is even worse than carbon dioxide. So get to know about this problem more and more, then you will understand avoiding is the best thing to do. So try to focus on that. I think I answered the question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. We have one last final question. Sri Lanka was claimed to be one of the top polluters of oceans some time back, and later it was claimed to be a statistical mistake. What's your take on it?
Yeah, so well, this was the study was done by Jenna Jembek in 2010. Yes, we were kind of ranked as the fifth largest ocean polluter. And yes, some people say it's a statistical error. I am not 100% sure if it's correct or not because it's a paper published by Science. So I don't want to 100% deny it also. But two things that I would like to say. Maybe that is the calculation error. I saw that that article who has done this article on how that error was made and all that. That makes sense also, but I'm not in a position to deny either of it completely. But what I'm trying to say is because of what happened, because we were like, everybody started talking about us because we were ranked as one of the largest ocean polluters. And that actually created a good impact because everyone wanted to come and, do something about this problem. So let's look at the positive side of it rather than trying to see whether it's correct or not, but look at the positive impact that it created. So I think in a way, it's a good thing, even if it's an error.
All right, thank you so much, ma'am. I think that's all the questions we have. So once again, thank you very much for being here today. I believe all the road tractors will have learned much, and I'm sure all the road tractors here will be responsible and vigilant with regard to the environment from this day forward. So once again, on behalf of the District Steering Committee, thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable time and for being here with us today for the district conference. We learned so much from your speech. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
All right. Now, road tractors, please bear with us. We have some commercial messages from our sponsors.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Our sincere gratitude to HMB Commercial Leasing and Red Bull for their generous contributions for making this conference a success. Thank you very much. So now, road tractors and ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the climax or the twilight of today's session. So we're about to open voting for the much awaited and anticipated Papa Awards. Before I tell you how and when to vote, let us first take a quick look at the nominees once again. Thank you so much. That song certainly does bring back a lot of memories. So I will now explain how the voting process works. If you have not already voted for your favorite road tractor to win a title at the Road Track Papa Awards, you will still have the chance to do so in the morning of day 3. But however, the voting will begin shortly for this day. So once the voting has opened, the screen will show an auto refreshing code. This code will change every 5 minutes, which you will need to enter on the voting platform before it expires. And the link to the voting platform will be shared in the chat box. So to proceed to voting. Also note that voting for Papa Awards will be considered as indicating your attendance for the district conference for reporting purposes. If you have already cast your vote on one of the previous 2 days, you will not be able to vote again, since one person is eligible for 1 vote. It would be mandatory, however, for you to vote for all the categories, all 13 categories, in order for your vote to be counted and valid. If you refresh before submitting, you will have to vote again. So we are about to start voting now. Good luck. Make sure you vote for everyone. Since we have now reached the end of today's session 1, please make sure that you join session 2 as well. We have loads of interesting and enlightening segments planned out for you. Viresh Kure will be attending. That's something you do not want to miss, certainly. So please make sure you join for session 2 as well. And once again, on behalf of the District Steering Committee, I would like to thank all the Rotaractors present here today for taking time off your Saturday morning and joining the 3rd day of the Rotaract District Conference. Thank you so much. Have a pleasant rest of the day and happy voting. Thank you so much. Good practice. The code for the voting platform has now changed. Please take note. And the voting instructions has been now shared in the chat box to the right. Thank you. Also, Rotaractors, please try your best to join the evening session as well. We have loads of new and more interesting segments lined up for you. Viresh Kure will be attending. That's something you do not want to miss. And also, the RI nominated project showcase will also be happening in the evening session. So please make sure to join next session. Also, the issue with the code is now being fixed. Please note that the code is being changed very regularly. So please direct your attention to the screen. As you can see, the code is being changed. Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. So the code has changed. As you can see, it's the last 2 minutes before it expires. So final chance to vote if you haven't. This is your final minute to vote. So quickly go out there and vote if you still haven't, guys. All right, I think that is done. So we have closed the voting for this session right now. And we have come to the end of yet another session of the 30th Rotaract District Conference. Before you move on, before we end this session, would like to remind all of you guys, we have a very exciting guest coming up, as you can see in the screen. So stay tuned. He has a very interesting session. He has lots of interesting things to talk to you about. So join in for the evening session at 4 p.m. To check out what Viresh Kure has to say. And also, very importantly, we have something else lined up just for you guys. That is the IS Showcase. We have RI nominees from all over the world showing what the project is about and how they got into become an RI nominee. So make sure to check that out as well. So make sure you guys join in for the evening session at 4 p.m. today because this is something you don't want to miss out. All right. So once again, I would like to thank everyone who joined in for the morning session of day 3 of the 30th Rotaract District Conference. And I would also like to thank the speakers and all our sponsors once again, and hope you have a really good rest of the day, and see you guys in the evening. Thank you so much.